Hey players, it's time to grab your tea and have a seat. Let's discuss politics, crime, celebrity gossip, investigative reporting. Welcome to The Real Tea with Double D on GSMC Podcasting Network, where I am black and the news is always petty as hell, but it's accurate.
Hey players, welcome to a brand new episode of The Real Tea with Double D. Of course, I'm your girl Double D and we are on the GSMC Podcasting Network. So excited to be with you all again tonight to record a brand new episode. Listen, I'm right on top of that, Rose. Okay, I got my cup here. My teacup is filled up with what I love, and baby, we're gonna spill this tea tonight because, hunty, when I tell you, it really hasn't been a day. I'm gonna keep it a stack. It hasn't been a day per se, in my opinion, because there hasn't been a whole lot of tea to pour. However, it was still a day. So I got some stuff compiled for you guys that I wanted to go over, and I'm so excited to see every single one of you out there in TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and also you ones that are listening out there in podcasting world. Thank you guys for coming back every single week and riding and flying with your girl. I really appreciate it. You guys out there on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok, y'all know I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming through one more again, and also out there to you podcasters that are listening to this when you're cleaning up, when you're in your car, wherever you're at work. Thank you so much for listening one more again. I really appreciate it. Really trying to have a really good month on downloads, and I know that you guys are coming through in the clutch because, hey, you wouldn't be a player if you wasn't coming through in the clutch. So y'all, hunty, we got some stuff, honey. We got some stuff. Kenny Craig here is asking me what I'm drinking, honey, and I'm gonna keep it a stack. It's just water. It's just water. It's just water. It's just water, honey. That is all that it is. You know what they say, baby. You gotta drink your water and stay out of mess and conflama to keep your skin nice and clear. So I think I do a pretty good job at that. I got some pretty decent skin. So baby, I'm always gonna drink that water. But y'all grab y'all tea, whatever y'all like, whether it be water, juice, tequila, Hennessy, Alizé, whatever it is, honey. Grab that tea, baby, because it's time to get it pop-a-locking. All right, players. I tell you, that fake ass Republican outrage, I declare, honey, what a disgrace. All right, players. So today, honey, it was really all about President Biden and what is going on. Well, of course, we had some frumpy dump crap to go down, but really for the beginning part of the day, I saw a lot about President Biden and he was trending up on the Twitter. So I was like, what in the haberdasheries and hemoglobin is going on here? So I scurried on over there to see what it was, honey, and you wouldn't believe what it was. I declare, honey, it was a disgrace. So I'm thinking that this man really done did something, besides all of the fake outrage that they always come up with all the time. But they were talking about these marks that were on President Biden's face. Now, listen, I had a photo of this, but Double D did not. Did I? Oh, I may have. You can kind of see it there on the photo. I did. Okay, so look closely at that picture and you will see some little marks on President Biden's face. Now, I used to do this little segment called Fake Ass Republican Outrage, and I'm going to keep it a stack with you. This is exactly what this was, some fake ass Republican outrage. They were really worried about those marks on President Biden's face. And come to find out, honey, President Biden has sleep apnea. So he wears a sleep machine now. It was recommended that he wears a sleep machine at night, and that is the marks that's on his face from that mask or whatnot. Not a big deal, but of course the Republicans were making a big ass deal out of it, honey. It was ridiculous and a hot boo boo shitty mess. I want y'all to take a listen to what went down on Faux News when they came down and said that President Biden had to wear a CPAP machine.
And Joe doesn't even know what Bidenomics means. This was supposed to launch his economic message for the campaign. This was failure to launch. He gets out there. First, he has a sleep machine, indentation all over his face. His heart stops when he sleeps, so he's got a mask on.
Can I ask you a question? When his heart stops, is Kamala Harris the president?
For a second, the president again. Right. And that machine is what's keeping this country alive. And then he comes out and he confuses Iraq with Afghanistan. Fine. Just don't send Iraq $800 million. Then he comes out and he...
I declare, honey, what a disgrace. Jesse Waters is the one that's taking over for Tucker to the Tuckster Carlson. Now, I don't know if you can get more disgusting than Tucker to the Tuckster Carlson, but that right there with him and I think that's Janine Shapiro or whatever, that was a disgusting exchange to say something like that. But I expect nothing more from them, honey. It's faux news. Oh, President Biden has to wear a CPAP machine, and while he was out in Chicago, he was touting his new word that is kind of this new word that he came up with, and it's kind of making fun of Reaganomics. I don't know if y'all remember what Reaganomics was, but it came down during the Ronald Reagan era, and it was basically about trickle down economics, where you tax the rich a little bit less, and then they are supposed to trickle that money down to the common American. Like, oh, they're paying less in taxes, so they're going to pay more out in wages, or they're going to give more benefits on the jobs. That right there has always failed. It failed from the beginning, and it continues to fail today, because when Frumpy Dump got in office, that's basically what he did when giving these big businesses and these giving these big corporations these tax breaks, and they were supposed to come on and do right by their employees, but of course they didn't. We all know about what happened with Amazon. We all know about what happened with a lot of these big corporations that was paying little to no taxes, and they were supposed to be investing that money into their to their employees and also to expand their businesses, and they did not do that. So President Biden has been out talking about his economics, his big economic boom is what he's calling it. He's calling it Bidenomics. I love it, honey. And it's basically President Biden has a lot to be proud of. As we all know, honey, there have been 13.1 million jobs added. We got back everything that we lost during the pandemic, plus some. We have the lowest rate of unemployment. Lowest rate of unemployment in a very, very long time. We also have the lowest inflation out of all of the countries. This is something that a lot of people don't understand, but out of all the countries, America has the lowest rate of inflation. It's actually went down consistently for the past 10 months. And he had a lot to say today while he was out in Chicago. And I just want you guys to hear part of what President Biden had to say regarding his economics and what he plans to do, and what he feels about trickle down economics.
Vision is a fundamental break from the economic theory that has failed America's middle class for decades now. It's called trickle down economics, fundamental economics, trickle down. The idea was, it's believed that we should cut taxes for the wealthy and big corporations. And I know something about big corporations. There's more corporations in Delaware incorporated than every other state in the union combined. I want them to do well, but I'm tired of waiting for the trickle down. It doesn't come very quickly. Not much trickle down at my dad's kitchen table growing up. You know, first quarter of the 20th century, the poet Carl Sandburg described Chicago as a city of big shoulders. A city of big shoulders. He was describing the big shoulders of a working class American town who were building this city. At the same time, building the middle class. I'm here in Chicago today for the first quarter of the 21st century to talk about the economic vision for this country. The economy that grows the economy from the middle out, the bottom up, instead of just the top down. When that happens, everybody does well. The wealthy still do it, everybody does well. The poor have a ladder up, and the wealthy still do well. We all do well. This vision is a fundamental break from the economic theory that has failed America's middle class for decades now. It's called trickle-down economics, fundamental economics, trickle down. The idea was, it's belief that we should cut taxes for the wealthy and big corporations. And I know something about big corporations. There's more corporations in Delaware incorporated than every other state in the union combined. I want them to do well, but I'm tired of waiting for the trickle down. It doesn't come.
So President Biden argues that supply side trickle down economics has cost jobs and hollowed out middle class. He has long focused on that group of Americans, serving as chair of the middle class task force when he was vice president in the Obama administration. Now, President Biden also can tout 800,000 jobs that were added to manufacturing. It's been absolutely booming, the manufacturing industry, although a lot of people like to talk about gas and all this kind of thing. President Biden has been doing his thing when it comes down to adding jobs and strengthening the economy, that's for sure. The Biden administration has also focused on infrastructure, clean energy, and semiconductors. These efforts aim to attract private investments. Since President Biden took office in 2021, they have spurred nearly $500 billion in private sector commitments, which is absolutely huge. The administration is touting the fact that construction spending on manufacturing facilities has doubled since 2021. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, Inflation Reduction Act, and CHIPS Act each include direct funding and tax incentives for public and private manufacturing construction. This surge is not happening in other advanced economies. Also, earlier this week, President Biden outlined how states will receive more than $42 billion in federal funding for high-speed internet. Now, speaking of that, President Biden had a dark Brandon moment indeed when it came down to Tommy Tuberville. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So there was a situation with Tommy Tuberville, honey, where he decided that he was going to brag on Twitter about his state actually receiving money for expanding internet, honey. And President Biden came along and said, hey, you're receiving that money basically because of me, honey, and you voted against it. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. And he went a bit further, and he actually talked about that today at his speech in Chicago.
That's what the bipartisan infrastructure law does. It will be for our kids and grandkids, only bigger. Just last week, we announced our plan to bring affordable high-speed internet to end the decade of unaffordable and inaccessible internet to every home in America, every small business in America. And to no one's surprise, it's bringing along some converts. People strenuously opposed, voting against it when we had this going on. This was going to bankrupt America. Well, there's a guy named Tuberville, senator from Alabama, who announced they strongly opposed the legislation. Now he's hailing its passage. Here's what he said, quote, "It's great to see Alabama receive critical funds to boost ongoing broadband efforts." We're replacing every single lead pipe in this country.
Baby, when I tell you Tommy Tuberville gonna be having a tantrum on Twitter tomorrow, I cannot wait. Just like Mustard to the Must by Marjorie did when President Biden talked about her. They hate when he pull out them aviator shades and start going on dark Brandon on them. They absolutely hate it. But it's absolutely true, honey. Those Republicans did vote against that bill, honey, and now they're going around here acting like they did something when they absolutely, positively did absolutely nothing. It is ridiculous and a hot boo shitty mess, and I love that President Biden doesn't mind calling them out each and every single time. He'll call them out on Twitter. He'll call them out in the speech. Anytime that he get wind of it, honey, I'm pretty sure Dr. Jill Biden be wanting to hold him back because I know she'll be like, damn, I know he gonna say so. But baby, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. I'm here for it all. So the administration, also President Biden's officials have highlighted the Inflation Reduction Act provision that reduces insulin costs for Medicare enrollees to $35, as well as a president's the president's proposal targeting so-called junk fees. Now, so again, President Biden has been going around talking about Bidenomics, and I'm gonna keep it a stack, baby. It looks good for President Biden. His approval rating is a little low at 41%, but it's up from what it used to be. So we can definitely see some improvement there. And Hunty, when I tell you he got him upset, honey, he got him upset to the highest level of upsetness. But baby, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm here for it all. All right, players, y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat, honey, because we moving on to Frumpy to the motherfucking dump. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. Frumpy dump, Frumpy dump, Frumpy to the motherfucking dump. I declare, honey. What a disgrace. So Frumpy Dump has countersued E. Jean Carroll, claiming she defamed him this time. I declare, honey. What a disgrace. Now, this is on the same day that he actually had to make that deposit of that $5.5 million that I reported on earlier this week. If you haven't watched my video, make sure you go and watch it. But Frumpy Dump basically said that he was going to put $5.5 million in a security to secure E. Jean Carroll's defamation payout. If he loses his appeals, she will go ahead and get that get that $5 million that she was awarded in that defamation lawsuit, honey. So today he actually made that deposit in security. He couldn't get a bond. Well, he said, according to his attorney, he didn't want to. His attorney, Taco Pina. According to Taco Pina, honey, Taco Pina said that he didn't want to get a bond. He didn't want to have to pay them the 1%. Now, I thought Frumpy Dump was rich. So he claims that he didn't want to pay the 1% to the bond. So he was going to go ahead and deposit the $5.5 million. Now, he went ahead and did it today. It took him a few days, but he went ahead and deposited the money. But on the same day, well, actually late last night, before he deposited the money, he went ahead and countersued E. Jean Carroll, claiming that she defamed him with her comments that she made on CNN. Now, y'all, I'm going to keep it a stack. This don't sound like defamation to me, but y'all put your thoughts in the comments. Take a listen to this.
This jury found that Trump did not rape you. What about that moment?
Robbie can explain the legal.
Sure, and I want you to, but I just wonder, E. Jean, what went through your head when you heard that?
Well, I just immediately say in my own head, oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. See, that's my response.
So that's what she said, honey. She said when the jury found out that, when she found out that the jury ruled that, well, the jury's verdict was that he was liable for the sexual, I believe it was sexual, like that he sexually abused her, but he did not grape her. She said, oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. That's basically what he's suing her for. So Frumpy Dump has sued E. Jean Carroll, and he is seeking, well, it doesn't say how much he's seeking, but basically he is shit, I'm sorry, y'all. Frumpy Dump filed this, oh my God, y'all, I'm messing up my notes. Give me 1 second. Now, I know I wrote notes on this, and now this phone is trying to backpedal and pop out of this. Now, where is this? Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Forgive me. Okay, so he sued Frumpy Dump has countersued, accusing her of defaming him in turn by repeating her contention that he raped her. Now, Frumpy Dump said in the lawsuit that when she made these comments, that was definitely defamation because he was not found liable for the defamation. He was only found liable. Not liable for the raping, but he was found liable for sexually abusing her, which was, according to him, two different things. He filed this late Tuesday in the federal district court in Manhattan. And he said that E. Jean Carroll was wrong to repeat the contention after the jury's decision that he had SA'd her, a lesser form of misconduct. So, baby, Frumpy Dump said, hey, she defamed me, so I'm going to go ahead and countersue her. Now, E. Jean Carroll's attorney said in part that, said in a statement that Frumpy Dump argued in the face of reality that he was exonerated by a jury that found that he SA'd E. Jean Carroll by forcibly inserting his fingers into her ninny. Trump's filing is thus nothing more than his latest effort to delay accountability for what a jury has already found to be his defamation of E. Jean Carroll. But whether he likes it or not, accountability will be coming very soon. So that is what her attorney had to say about this situation, honey. And we already know that E. Jean Carroll, Frumpy Dump, has filed an appeal on this $5.5 million that he's supposed to, with the $5 million that E. Jean Carroll was awarded. He filed saying that the amount was basically excessive. And then he also filed basically wanting another trial. But we'll hear from those appeals. I'm pretty sure he's going to take it all the way to the Supreme Court. And like I said earlier, honey, he's already put the $5.5 million in security. Now, if Frumpy Dump wins his appeals, then he gets to get the money back that he put into security plus any interest that has accrued. But if he loses any of those appeals, then E. Jean Carroll will automatically get that $5 million that she is owed from Frumpy to the motherfucking Dump. I declare, honey. What a disgrace. Now, it's another case going against Frumpy Dump with E. Jean Carroll next year, where he's where she's seeking defamation against him as well. She's seeking some monetary compensation for that as well. I I declare, honey. What a disgrace.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
So that's what's going on with Frumpy Dump and E. Jean Carroll. You know, I'll keep you guys updated to any changes. Y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat, honey, because we got to talk about Frumpy Dump and Ivanka. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. All right, players. So we got some big news that came. Well, it really wasn't no big news because if anybody knows the relationship between Ivanka Trump and Frumpy Dump, they shouldn't be surprised by the inclination of any of this. I know I wasn't surprised, but before I get to this nasty McNasty, then let me go ahead and tell you about the appeals court has dismissed Ivanka as a co-defendant in Frumpy Dump's civil fraud case in New York, honey. A New York appeals court has dismissed Ivanka as a co-defendant in New York Attorney General Letitia James' civil fraud lawsuit against Frumpy Dump. Letitia James filed the lawsuit against Frumpy Dump and 3 of his adult children and the Frumpy Dump organization last September, alleging that they were involved in an expansive fraud lasting over decades that Frumpy Dump used to enrich himself. Now, the court order dismissed the claims against Ivanka Trump as an untimely after finding that she had not been party to an August 2021 agreement between Attorney General Letitia James and the Frumpy Dump organization to toll the statute of limitations. So she got off scot-free on that one, got off like a fat rat. Ivanka will not be a part of the lawsuit with Frumpy to the motherfucking Dump in New York. Now let's get to this nasty tea because I'm gonna go ahead and keep a stack, honey. I am disgusted to the highest level of disgustedness, but I am not surprised by any of it at all. So an ex-staffer has came out and said that Frumpy Dump describes having ooey gooey with his own daughter Ivanka. Oh, yes, honey. It's true. According to a according to a former staffer of Frumpy Dump's talks under Ivanka clothes quite frequently to anybody who will listen, honey. A said that he talked about Ivanka Trump's Hootie McBoobs, her derriere, and what it might be like to have ooey gooey with her. That's what a former staff member said about Ivanka, that Frumpy Dump said about Ivanka, and he would do that quite frequently, honey. Now this is coming out in a new book that's supposed to be coming out later this year called Blowback, a working to save democracy from the next Frumpy Dump. Now AIDS this person is allegedly telling this thing to the person that's writing this book. It's absolutely disgusting, but it's not far-fetched. Y'all go ahead and take a listen to some of the things that Frumpy Dump has said about Ivanka in the past.
Yet at times, his fatherly praise is downright cringeworthy, like on The View in 2006.
I said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Stop
You know
it.
what? You are sick.
Far from protecting his daughter from being talked about as a sex object, he has encouraged it multiple times. On Howard Stern's radio show in 2004 and then again in 2006.
By the way, your daughter,
She's beautiful.
can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous. She's tall. She's almost 6 feet tall.
In May, Ivanka described herself as a feminist while defending her father on CBS after a scathing New York Times article about his alleged negative treatment of women.
Is there unending commentary on the female form?
No. I've known my father, obviously, my whole life, and he has total respect for women.
Please welcome the lovely Ivanka Trump.
Still, even Ivanka seemed confused when talk show host Wendy Williams asked about things the two have in common.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
Donald Trump has always been proud of his daughter.
I'd call collect to his office. I was probably, 10 years old. He would pick up the phone every single time, and he'd put me on speakerphone. It wouldn't be a long conversation. He'd introduce me to whoever was in his office.
And he was front row when Ivanka took to the catwalk during her short-lived career as a fashion model. Still, Donald Trump repeatedly points out how hot his daughter is, saying last year in a Rolling Stone article, "Yeah, she's really something, and what a beauty, that one. If I weren't happily married and, her father."
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
Yeah, she's hot.
Ivanka continues to defend her father.
I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So this is according to an aide. Now, listening to that, is it far-fetched that Frumpy Dump would be talking under Ivanka's clothes to anybody? Listening to what he said in the past in the public, can you imagine what he says, what he may allegedly be saying in private? I mean, it is absolutely disgusting. That part about ooey gooey, what he said, what do we have in common? Where Wendy asked him, what could be what you guys have in common? And he said, ooey gooey. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. That's not something that my father would ever equate to in the same sentence with me, let alone in a public forum. It's absolutely disgusting, honey. So this person in this book, this former aide of Frumpy Dump, they jumping ship, honey. They definitely are, because they telling it all. So he said that Frumpy Dump made it a very nasty work environment, said that they would call him the old perv. I mean, it's a lot going on with this book. Now, I'm gonna keep it a stack. This might be one that I actually read. I normally don't read these books by these former people that like to talk crap about Frumpy Dump, but this might be one that I will read. It's called Blowback, a warning to save democracy from the next Frumpy Dump, which is, of course, the next Trump. So we'll see what's going on, honey, what's coming out in the Washington Arrangement. I really don't know how this can be defended. At the end of the day, honey, I'm going to keep it a stack. And listening to what he said in public, baby.
Does that mean he's guilty?
I told you. He did that shit. Guilty as fuck. Guilty as fuck. I told you. Guilty as fuck.
Does that mean he's guilty?
Oh, yes, honey. He did that shit. He is guilty as F. Now, y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat, honey, because, baby, Jack Smith, y'all thought he was done whenever he did that classified documents. Baby, he ain't done, honey. Y'all grab that tea. Human Skidmark Giuliani is coming up next. All right, players. So Human Skidmark Giuliani, according to reports, has been interviewed by Jack Smith. That is the special prosecutor that is investigating Frumpy Dump and the classified documents probe, as well as his involvement in January 6th. Now, according to reports, honey, Human Skidmark Giuliani was interviewed by those who are doing that January 6th investigation. They said that A spokesman for Human Skidmark Giuliani confirmed that he met with the special counsel. The appearance was entirely voluntary and conducted in a professional manner. Oh, yes, honey. It's true. Now, they said that there's a person that spoke with the media, of course, who wants to remain anonymous, and said that they discussed an ongoing investigation, but they would not say what questions investigators had for Human Skidmark Giuliani. But this interview is an additional sign of a busy investigative activity by Special Counsel Jack Smith, as his team of prosecutors scrutinizes efforts by Frumpy-Dump and his allies to undo the results of the election in the weeks before January 6, 2021. As the lawyer for Frumpy-Dump, Giuliani pushed, of course, we know the big lie, a lot of legal challenges to the presidential election results. The legal team filed lawsuits in battleground states, raising unsupported claims of a vast election fraud, including even though officials, including Frumpy-Dump's own Attorney General Bill Barr, said no such pervasive problems existed. Now, Human Skidmark Giuliani's efforts have made him a key figure in those investigations. He was interviewed last year by the January 6th committee, and he was also interviewed by prosecutors in Fulton County. Now, according to reports, honey, Fulton County investigators are actually investigating Human Skidmark Giuliani criminally. Now, nothing has came of that as of yet, but we do know that we're expecting to hear from Fannie Willis hopefully in the next month or so. They said between the July and the September session. So hopefully we'll hear regarding that soon. So Justice Department prosecutors have for months now been examining what role Frumpy-Dump's legal advisors played in working to undo the election. You know, we have that situation with the fake electors. We have them trying. There was also this whole thing about a coup that they were trying to do. They were basically trying to get the military to go in and allegedly get the military to go in and seize voting machines from these different states where they claimed that there was voter fraud. According to reports, honey, they abandoned that ship whenever someone came in and said, "Hey, Frumpy-Dump, if you do this, your ass is going to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200." And that's when Human Skidmark Giuliani, Frumpy-Dump, John Eastman, Jeffrey Clark, all of them went ahead and changed their tune, and they decided to go ahead and go with the January 6th, which we know ultimately led to the insurrection on the United States of America. So, baby, they have interviewed Human Skidmark Giuliani. Now, they also said that Human Skidmark was given some type of anonymity. I forgot what it was called, a profler or something like that, which is basically where he testified, and if he lied about anything, then it could lead to criminal charges against him if they found out that he lied about anything. But anything that he testified could be used in court. Now, they were saying something to the effect of maybe Human Skidmark would get like a deal for him to testify against Frumpy-Dump. Maybe he's worried about what all these other people have testified. You know, we heard that John Eastman, I believe it was, had already testified, or was it Jeffrey Clark? Jeff Clark, they had all testified, so maybe he's worried about those things. I'm not sure. But according to his attorney, he did interview before Jack Smith, and I'm pretty sure there's more to come. So, baby, I'm going to keep y'all updated to any changes on that, honey. But Human Skidmark Giuliani was on deck. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat, baby, because it's time to move on to Florida. Yeah, Florida. Child, now Ron DeSantis, I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So if we're waiting on Ron DeSantis to do now, of course, let me backpedal a little bit. So we know that Ron DeSantis is running for president. He's making a complete buffoon of himself. It's just ridiculous and embarrassing, some of the things that he's saying and doing. And of course, if we're looking at Florida to be an example of what Ron DeSantis will do with America, then hunty, we do not need his funky ass at the realm of anything. In fact, honey, he should be impeached from the government in Florida, in my opinion, honey. But y'all know my opinion is just like everybody else's. Everybody just like assholes, honey. We all got them and they all stink. But I digress, honey. So if we're looking at if we're going to look at the example that Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida. Baby, we don't have a whole lot to go on, not anything in a positive way. And Ron DeSantis just basically made that a little bit more a little bit more evident to all of us, especially those of us who like to say, oh, well, what is Joe Biden doing about criminal justice reform? What happened to the George Floyd policing bill? What is he going to do to protect Black people? Well, we're going to know by this that Ron DeSantis is going to do absolutely positively nothing. So if you are me, then you don't need to vote for him, okay? Because Ron DeSantis has vetoed a GQP-backed criminal justice reform bill. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So it couldn't be a whole lot because it was backed by the GQP, but it's actually something important. Let's get into it. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has vetoed a GQP-backed criminal justice reform bill that passed with almost unanimous support in both houses of the Florida state legislature. DeSantis issued the veto Tuesday and officially informed Florida Secretary of State, but did not include a reason, honey. He said, y'all want criminal justice reform? You ain't gonna get it from me. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So the legislation is called House Bill 605, and it would amend Florida statute concerning the expungement of criminal history records, which currently prevents an individual from seeking an expungement if they previously have received a sealing or an expungement unless they were seeking an expungement of a record previously sealed for 10 years. The bill would add another exception for individuals who previously received an expungement for an offense that they committed while they were a minor. It would not apply to a minor who was charged as an adult. The statute concerns records including indictments, charging documents, and other information. Individuals would not need to meet the requirement of the record being sealed for at least 10 years. The legislation was originally introduced by State Rep David Smith, whom is a Republican, and it passed by the House by a vote of 107 to 102 in the state Senate unanimously. And Ron DeSantis, he vetoed the bill. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. Now, the person that authored the bill, Mr. Representative David Smith, said that he's disappointed the bill was vetoed, but is committed to good justice reform policy that's giving deserving Floridians second chances. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. But I guess Ron DeSantis don't want to give no second chances, honey. So if this man is doing this at a state level, then what the heck do you think that he's going to do at a national level? It is ridiculous and a hot boo shitty mess, and it's regarding expungements. One of the most simplest things. People can get expungements so they can get jobs. You know, when they've done a little petty crime, they've done, something that they want to get expunged off their record. They can do those things with it, even if they had a previous seal. It was no big deal. But Ron DeSantis wants to do the Reagan era. He wants to act like he's tough on crime. He's Mr. Tough and hard ass on crime. And that is going to make you sit your ass in Florida and stay there because it is ridiculous and a hot boo boo shitty mess. Now, can you imagine what Ron DeSantis would do if he had to pass, if the George Floyd policing bill was to pass somehow, if he was president? Can you imagine what he would do? I declare, honey, what a disgrace. It is ridiculous and a hot boo-boo shitty mess, but it's Ron DeSantis and it's Florida. I expect nothing more from them. Players, y'all grab your tea and have a seat. We're moving on. All right, players. So we got to move on to the Titan, honey, because there is some new developments that came down the pipeline right when I was making this. And I said, let me go ahead and add this into it. So as we all know, honey, the Titan submersible, it went down last week. It was really, really sad. Everything, all five of the billionaires or all five of the people that were aboard actually perished. And they said that it was it was a catastrophic event. It likely imploded. Well, we have some new news that came down that they may have possibly discovered some human remains. So according to the Coast Guard, presumed human remains were among the debris and evidence recovered from the sea floor where the Titan submersible was found. Remnants were found. The remains were recovered within the wreckage of the submersible. The Coast Guard announced this in a news release. The presumed remains, which the military branch said will be analyzed by U.S. medical professionals, were among evidence from the submersible that arrived at a Canadian pier Wednesday. The company that owns the remotely operated vehicles that brought Titan's remains to the surface. So they will be analyzing those remains to see what if that's human remains or not. They haven't 100% said that it was, but they're going to be analyzing those to see if it is, and if it is, then I guess they'll do what they need to do with that. So, of course, here at the Black Accurate News, I'm sending my condolences out to the families of the ones that were lost. There's been a lot of information that came out of this. The mother of this 19-year-old actually came out and she spoke, and it was just absolutely heartbreaking. She was actually on the boat that launched this submersible, and she was on that boat for 96 hours as they was searching for these people. It's so very sad to hear. All right, players, y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat because we're moving on. So Daniel Penny has pled not guilty in the NYC subway chokehold death of Jordan Neely. I don't know. It really pisses me off when they start their things. A U.S. Marine veteran pleaded not guilty. It doesn't matter that he was in the Marines. We don't care. We don't care. Why? I hate that they do this. It really upsets me and it irks me that I took this screenshot. I'm very upset about it. Anyway, so Daniel Penny pleaded not guilty to second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide in the May 1st death of Jordan Neely. So the grand jury voted to indict Penny on updated charges earlier this month at Wednesday's arraignment. Wednesday's arraignment lasted just a few minutes for him to plead not guilty because he's free on bond. He just said not guilty before leaving out of the courtroom with his lawyers. Now, although Daniel Penny only said that he was not guilty today, he actually his attorneys issued this video where he wanted to go. What Daniel Penny and his attorneys are trying to do is try this case in the court of public opinion. And this is basically what he had to say on this video. I'm going to play y'all some of it. I declare.
This was a scary situation. And Mr. Neely came on. He was threatening. I'm 6'2", and he was taller than me. So it was, and there's a common misconception that Marines don't get scared. We're actually taught one of our core values is courage, and courage is not the absence of fear, but how you handle fear. And I was scared for myself, but I looked around. I saw women and children. He was yelling in their faces, saying these threats. I couldn't just sit still. Mr. Neely was yelling in these passengers' faces, and they looked terrified. The reason why there was no video at the start of the altercation was because people were too afraid getting away from him. I was praying that the police would come and take this situation over. I didn't want to be put in that situation, but I couldn't just sit still and let him carry out these threats.
Now you listen to what he said, because all of the witnesses that we've heard from, none of them have said that Jordan Neely was up in nobody's face and up in no children's face yelling at them. And if he was in their face yelling at them, what he was saying was that he was hungry and that he wanted to eat. Nobody said that he said anything about hurting anybody. This is what I'm saying. This guy's trying to try this case in the court of public opinion, sir. But a jury of your peers in New York indicted your ass, actually upgraded the charges that the prosecutor initially gave you. So you up shit creek without a pedal, and you don't even know it, honey. That little $3 million that they donated to you, I hope that you're going to say something that to put that on your books, because I can guarantee you in a liberal city like New York, that ass is going to jail. I don't care what you say. He is going to jail. You hear me? So he can do this all he want to. But at the end of the day, honey, you killed somebody. They were screaming that they were hungry and that they wanted to eat and that they rather die than be hungry. You killed a person because of that. And you need to be held accountable. I don't care if you was a veteran in the Marines. I don't give a damn if you was Jesus Christ himself. You killed somebody for no good reason, and you need to be held accountable. So when he stands up there and says stuff like this is what I feel about that.
Man, sit your ass down.
Stop trying to try this case in the court of public opinion and sit that ass clean on down. All right, players, y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat, honey, because we got one more after this, and we're going to get on out of here, because I know y'all tired of hearing me, because I'm tired of hearing myself. All right, players, grab that tea. All right, players. So deputies accused of abusing black men are fired by Mississippi sheriff amid a federal investigation. Now, this happened in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, according to authorities, all 5 Memphis deputy sheriffs who responded to an incident where 2 black men accused the deputies of beating and SAing them before they shot one of them in the mouth have been fired or resigned, according to authorities. That's what they said on yesterday. The announcement comes months after Michael Corey Jenkins and his friend Eddie Terrell Parker said that deputies from Rankin County Sheriff's Department burst into their home without a warrant. The men said that deputies beat them, assaulted them with a toy, like to pleasure yourself toy, and shot them repeatedly with tasers in a roughly 90-minute period during the January 24th episode. Jenkins said that one of the deputies shoved a weapon in his mouth and then fired the weapon, leaving him with serious injuries to his face, tongue, and jaw. The Justice Department has finally opened a civil rights investigation into the Rankin County Sheriff's Department after the episode. Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey announced on Tuesday that the deputies involved in the episode had been fired and some had already resigned. He would not provide the names of the deputies who had been terminated or say how many law enforcement officers were fired, but he did, and he would not answer any additional questions. Basically, he said what he had to say. He got the hell on out of Dodge. He said, due to recent developments, including findings during our internal investigation, those deputies that were still employed by the department have all been terminated. We understand that alleged actions of these deputies has eroded the public's trust in the department. Rest assured that we will be working diligently to restore that trust. So the Associated Press did an investigation on this, and they found that several deputies who were involved with that episode were also linked to at least 4 violent encounters with black men since 2019 that left 2 dead and another with lasting injuries. Deputies who had been accepted to the Sheriff's Department Special Response Team and also their tactical unit. Deputies said that the raid was prompted by a report of drug activity in the home. Police and court records obtained by the Associated Press revealed the identities of 2 deputies at the Jenkins raid. Hunter Elroy, and I think I got a picture. Do I got a picture of Hunter? Oh God, I forgot to put it in here. I'm sorry. Hunter Elroy and Christian Demond. It is not immediately clear whether any of the deputies had attorneys who could comment on their behalf. Why would they have attorneys? They probably were let to resign and they're going to be able to keep their pension. In a phone interview Jason Dare, the attorney representing the Rankin County Sheriff's Department, said the department knows of 5 deputies who conducted the Jenkins raid. Jenkins and his attorneys have said that 6 deputies were at the home. All 5 identified by the department were either fired or resigned. Also, there was no body camera footage of the episodes. Records obtained by the Associated Press show that the tasers used by the deputies were turned off. My son is crying, y'all. I know y'all heard that. Were turned on, turned off, or used dozens of times during a roughly 60-minute period. 60-minute period. Give me 1 second. Jenkins and Parker have filed a federal civil rights lawsuit and are seeking $400 million in damages. In a statement Tuesday, Malik Shabazz, an attorney representing Jenkins and Parker, celebrated the firing of the officers and called for criminal indictments of the deputies by the state's attorney general and the Justice Department. Malik Shabazz said that the firing of the Rankin County, Mississippi sheriff's deputies involved in the torture and shooting of Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker is a significant action on the path to justice for one of the worst law enforcement tragedies in recent history. Sheriff Brian Bailey has finally acted after supporting much of the bloodshed that occurred under his watch in Rankin County. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So Michael Corey Jenkins is the one that was shot in the mouth, presumably by one of these officers. I actually have this picture up here. I'm gonna go ahead and show it to y'all, but I'm gonna have to put it up here so you can see it. This is one of the officers. This is the Elroy that they were talking about. I'll put it over here so you guys can see it as well. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. It's so very sad. So again, they filed a $400 million lawsuit. The Justice Department is looking into the wrongdoing here. The Associated Press said that they found that no body camera footage, and they also found that the tasers had been deployed several times that night. And we also have Mr. Corey Jenkins that was injured, severely injured, because he was shot in the mouth. And it's so very sad, and something needs to be done about this situation expeditiously. There has been protests. There's been a lot going on in trying to get justice for these guys, and it sounds like someone needs to be put behind bars that is on that in that sheriff's department. All right, players. That's so very sad. All right, players. It's time for your favorite game. Let's play Stupid Games. Win stupid prizes. Players, it's time for another riveting episode of Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes. All right, players. So it's time for another riveting episode of Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes. And tonight, I got a story for you. I declare, honey, it's so very interesting. So this young lady right here was coming home in late May. She was coming home from work, honey. And all of a sudden, this gentleman right here, he approached her and he said, "Hey, stick them up and give me your dough." So he he rolled up on her, honey, going into her house. He rolled up on her and he said, "Look, I need to rob you. I need to go ahead and get your money. Stick them up and give me your dough." So he said, he wanted to get inside her house. She hadn't made it inside of the house yet. So he wanted to get inside of her home. And she told him, "Look, there's no need in us going in the home, honey, because I have no money or nothing in there, but I got $100 that I just made in tips on my job tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and give you that." So he said, okay. So they went to the car. They got the money. She gave him the $100 in tips. And then he said something very interesting to her. He said, "What is your Facebook name?" And she said, "Oh, well, this is my Facebook name." And basically, he sent her a friend request, and she added him on Facebook. And a few days later, dude slid into her DMs. I declare, what the. So he slid into her DMs, honey, and said, look, just know I'm going to pay you back. It's a effed up way to meet you, but you pretty. You was too pretty to rob. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. She said, I believe you, man. I can tell you're sweet. Times just get rough. I know that, honey. Well, guess what? Even though she played that game on old boy, she played the game on him, and let him whisper those sweet nothings in her DM, honey. She went ahead and turned that ass clean on in. Found out his name was Damian Boyce, and Damian was arrested. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So 31-year-old Damian Boyce was charged with armed robbery, unlawful carrying of a firearm by a felony. He was arrested and charged in connection with a separate robbery as well from early June. Again, the situation happened on May 8th at around 9 p.m. Indianapolis police say they were called to investigate an armed robbery of a person at home. At a home off of Harlan Street near East Raymond Street on the city's south side. Court documents detailed that the reported robbery took place on May 8th around 4 a.m. when a woman returned home from work. She said she was getting items from her mailbox when the man approached her and said, hey, stick them up and give me your dough, honey. He said he was going to break into her residence. She then went ahead and told him, look, baby, we'll need to go up in the residence because I ain't got no money in there. So she gave him, told him, but I got some in my car. So they skirted on over to the car, honey. He gave her that $100. She gave him the $100. She had got it tips, and then he skirted on by his way. But then he came back and said, look, you kind of cute. So what's your Facebook name? Go ahead and shoot me that addy and shoot me accept my friend request. And it went on from there, honey. So he's been arrested, honey. He is facing up to 15 years in prison. This is a level 5 felony. And then also, to add more insult to dude's injury, honey, he had a girlfriend. And once she found out about this situation, where he done robbed somebody and done tried to slide up in the DMs. Now, according to her post, she probably wouldn't have broke up with him if it would have just been for the robbery, because she said that old dude actually went there because he was trying to collect on a debt from someone that was allegedly staying there. He wasn't trying to collect. He wasn't actually trying to rob old girl. That's what she was saying. So she might not have broke up with him if it hadn't been for him sliding in those DMs. And then after that, honey, we look at her profile and she is single and ready to mingle. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So Damian Boyce has been arrested. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I declare, honey. What a disgrace. All right, players. I hope y'all enjoyed this brand new episode of The Real Tea with Double D. Of course, I am Double D, honey. I really enjoyed this episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it. I always say I wasn't going to be here that long, honey, but it looks like I'll be here a little longer every single night. And I appreciate every single one of y'all that ride and fly with me every single week. I appreciate it. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all of those places, so you can keep up with the day-to-day tea. And make sure y'all join me again next week for a brand new episode of The Real Tea with Double D. Have a great night. Love y'all so much. Peace.
Thanks for listening to The Real Tea with Double D. Remember to support by following on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And subscribe to the website to keep the tea piping hot at blackuratnews.com.